a lot of things happening. Sanket. At the moment, I was on my way to work. And I just got bombarded with notification. Have you seen this? Have you seen this? Obviously, DeepSeek is what's happening, the hot topic right now. So apart, like, I want to talk about that. So what's DeepSeek?
DeepSeek is an open source model. It's an LLM similar to ChatGPT, but it's open source. And last night, even like Pratik ran the smaller 4 billion model on his system, DeepSeek. So DeepSeek has many variants.
So you started using it.
Yeah. So yeah, the smaller ones you can run it on your machine.
Right.
So Pratik yesterday he downloaded it and also ran on his Mac, which was nice to see what DeepSeek can do. But he ran the smallest model because on local machine you cannot like run the larger ones. He tried the mid-range one. It took a little while, but it did run, which is amazing to see. I mean, there are different aspects of it. It's like one, it's coming from China, and second, it's open source. The question is, where are we heading? Like we have seen ChatGPT o1 and all these models which are closed source, and they are so good. And these open source model by a finance company in China is like being a direct competitor to a closed source like model. And that's where the future is. Like if you look at it from an open source or where the world is moving point of view, I think Meta has been doing Llama 3.1, 3.2, and now DeepSeek. The cost is going down. The amount of computation power that you need to build these models is also like getting cheaper. So I think AI is getting cheaper overall, and it's going to be more available. Now with that new information, with that new resource, we can use it in much more easily, and it's like more accessible to everyone.
I heard like so what I was just reading up on like how it happened to the entire thing, that how it got shipped. I read that they designed it in like a fraction of the cost in which OpenAI was designing its models.
Yes. So they did it. The total cost for the largest model is $5.5 million, which is I think 20 times cheaper than OpenAI building their models.
Right.
And that's the building cost. Even the running cost is way cheaper. It's way cheaper.
Yeah, the price per token is also I think very very cheap compared to other models.
Yeah, and it's open source, so you don't need to use their services. You can you can fine tune it with your own data, run it on your local server, and do whatever you want.
Do you think that's the future of AI?
Totally. Yeah, I think competition is always good for consumers, and if you are building a layer on top of this, then it's even better. Say if we are building an AI tool, a tool that uses I'm building a design tool that uses AI models. So it's good for me. Like I can do the same thing in a much cheaper way and run it locally. So yeah,
interesting. So right off the bat, right, I see something that the moment we get something open source, everybody runs towards it.
Yes,
right,
totally.
and everybody starts adopting it.
Yeah.
Developers by default prefer open source over any closed source platform.
Obviously.
So I do also believe that it's going to be the future, but don't you think like that's also going to create like a kind of monopoly of sorts in terms of the entire open source? Like everything open source is going to monopolize the closed ones, or do you think that's not a problem at all?
It's the other way, right? Like it was a monopoly till yesterday. Till yesterday, it was a monopoly by and only the giants with closed source model were actually doing it. And today it's like it's available for everyone. So only the computational power is what we are going to pay for, not the whole algorithm that builds these models. So that's the shift. And if you look at the stock market, for example, yesterday $3 trillion got wiped off the stock market, and the reason is that it was only Nvidia that was going soaring its prices mainly because of these models. They needed GPUs, and it was so much into monopoly of these companies.
Correct.
Now it's all distributed, and that's why we are seeing a crash.
I think the GPU, they're also using like a very low performance GPU.
Yes.
I remember, I think one CEO commented, said necessity is the mother of all inventions.
Exactly.
So they could not use the high performant GPUs of Nvidia. So they used something very low performant. And they found, I think, the most efficient way to actually put this thing out.
Yes. And also it's like progressing that it is very similar to O1 in its the way it thinks and way it responds.
Correct.
So it's also learning coming from the closed source ones as well. Okay, that there is an excitement and we can build something like that. And now people are coming and building something like that. So I think OpenAI played a very important role, but it's good to see competitions as well. Yeah.
I think OpenAI set the stage. Now it's like out in the open.
Yes.
I'm very excited to see what's going to come up next. To be
Yes.
honest.
I've seen Grok 3. I'm super excited about Grok 3.
Okay.
It's not yet released, but I've seen some demos on X, and I'm very excited about that as well. And yeah, I think let's see where it all heads.
Yeah.
Exciting times.
Yeah. Exciting times ahead. Truly.
Yeah. All right, Rakesh.
Okay. Thanks, Sanket. Thank you.
Yeah.